Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Emilio Osorio. I'm here with Kendrick Liu. We are here on behalf of Tier 1 Construction. Before we begin our presentation, we want to take a minute to thank you guys for being here and taking the time to listen to our presentation and our proposal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kendrick Liu, and I'm currently one of the project managers for Tier 1 Construction on this project. A brief history about me is I've been with the company for 10 years now, started in the office as an office engineer, worked my way through. I started my first federal project back in 2012 in Montana, where we built a federal courthouse, and this specific project actually achieved Gold LEED certifications. The following year in 2013, I worked a short rotation in Colorado, where we built a judicial center. More recently, in 2016, we built another federal courthouse in Los Angeles, which similarly to the Montana project has also achieved Gold LEED certifications. So
I think we might have lost Kendrick here there for a second.
Okay, we can give him a minute.
Okay, I'll introduce myself while he gets in there. As I said earlier, my name is Emilio Osorio. I'm also a project manager on this project, just like Kendrick. I was also on the courthouse in Montana in 2012. Back then, I was a field engineer. By the time we were building the Colorado Judicial Center in 2013, I was a senior field engineer. And when we were building the 2016 courthouse in Los Angeles, I was an assistant project manager. For this project, I'll be making sure that we're on budget and on time. I'll be planning and overseeing all construction operations, designating resources, helping prepare our budgets, monitoring progress, and making sure that all our stakeholders are properly informed and happy with the progress of the project. Moving forward, a little agenda for today's presentation. We'll first give you guys a quick introduction to our team, then we will talk about our project management plan, project schedule. We will talk about how we plan on achieving LEEDs and site certifications. We will give you a quick run of our estimating activities, talk about quality control, and last but most importantly, we will talk about safety. Here you guys can see our organizational chart. Our owner is Vivian Garcia. Kendrick and myself are the project managers. Senior superintendent is Brian McCarthy. Quality control and safety manager Spencer Boyer. Senior project engineer Brad Frakes. And we'll move forward with the presentation. But if you guys have any questions about our staffing and who's doing what, you guys can let me know. Founded by Ms. Garcia in 1995, Tier 1 Construction has been delivering groundbreaking results for approximately 25 years now. What started as a small general contractor in 1995 has grown to become one of the leading general contractors in the industry. Today, we're building anything from small commercial projects to large-scale state and federal projects. In 2016, we built the United States Courthouse in Los Angeles. This was a $326 million project, approximately 633,000 square feet. In 2013, we built the Judicial Center in Colorado. This was a $199 million project. What's cool about this project is that we came in 2 months ahead of schedule. Not only did we come in ahead of schedule, but we completed the project on budget and with a LEED certification of gold. In 2012, we built a James Bratton Federal Courthouse in Montana. This was a $59 million project and approximately 128,000 square feet, also with a LEED certification of gold. Moving forward, I want to talk about our plan to hit the ground running. This is part of our aggressive approach to constructing this project. Here at Tier 1 Construction, we understand that clear communication is early in key stages of the project. Because of that, we require our subcontractors and our workers to submit pre-work submittals for scopes such as mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural steel, and concrete. Another thing that we have taken into consideration is the geotechnical report. According to the geotechnical report, a large amount of the site fill is not suitable for construction. We know this, and we plan on excavating unsuitable material and removing it and potentially using it to backfill in areas in which we'll be doing landscape landscaping, or other type of construction that does not need to support the structure of the building. Moving forward, I want to talk about our good faith effort. We have saved 10% of the entirety of the project for disadvantaged businesses. This includes, minority-owned business or women-owned businesses. And some of the scopes that we have saved for this specific purpose is the signage, heavy civil, and traffic control. We understand that these scopes are usually performed by larger companies, but we know that there are companies in the area that are considered disadvantaged businesses that perform these scopes of work, and we have put forward a great effort to reach out to them and let them know that this work is being saved specifically for them, and we are awaiting on some of their responses to see if they're going to go ahead and move forward with this project. I also want to talk about the work that we self-perform, that being exterior improvements. We like to self-perform exterior improvements because it's one of the first things that you see when you approach the project. And, we want to have control of the quality of this specific scope of work. Not only can we control the quality by self-performing this, we can control the schedule and we can control the budget. By controlling this scope of work, we can make adjustments to the schedule and budget as necessary when other situations arise. Moving forward, I want to talk about our high-risk activities. Here at Tier 1 Construction, we take great pride in being a zero-injury environment. We want our workers to go back home the same way that they came to the site. To help us with that, we use pre-task analysis. We also use activity hazard analysis forms. The main objective of this is to identify hazards, plan accordingly, communicate that to everybody else, and then evaluate to make sure that the decisions that we made in the past continue to work or can be adjusted to work better in the future. Some of the main hazards we have identified are electrical hazard, fall hazard, crane and hoist operations, struck by, and scaffolding. When it comes to the major scopes of work, we have identified the basement, structural steel and walls, and mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. These scopes of work are the things that usually make or break a project. So we are paying particular attention to these scopes, and we will be starting with the basement and then moving forward from there with a strong foundation. A little bit about our schedule. Obviously, this is not the whole schedule, but for us, it is important that you guys know that we estimate the total duration of the project to be 495 days. Mobilization will take approximately 14 days. Site demolition will take about 25 days. Earthwork and mass excavation, we approximate 98 days. Foundation, 104 days. Completion of underground work, about 75 days. Completion of the superstructure, completion of the superstructure, 363 days. This effort will begin on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2020. North wing interior build out, south wing interior build out, those both will take 45 days each. And then lastly, the fire alarm and testing, approximately 20 days starting on Tuesday, October 26, 2021. This completes my portion of the presentation. I think Kendrick is back with us now, and he will continue to talk to you guys about sites and LEED certification, quality control, and safety.
So for LEED, over at Tier 1, we like to maximize efficiency and sustainability. Our project team has taken serious strides to utilize green materials and resources, as well as improved indoor environmental quality, one of which is our implementation to low-emitting materials. We enforce strict guidelines to emissions of VOC content to minimize exposure to contaminants that may harm our occupants. Our recycled content is also distinguished in separate containers to allow for proper processing from local contracted recycling companies. These procedures are actually not profit. We are actually losing money by opting for these recycling avenues. This is just one of the things that Tier 1 does to show our drive to promote a greener environment. Additionally, we retrieve diversion reports from these recycling companies to educate ourselves and our employees on the consumption of materials being used on our various projects. These are just some of the things that help us achieve that gold standard that we mentioned. Moving onward to estimating. So we've been awarded the contract amount of $117.9 million. The main structure being 35 million, 80% of that consists of concrete budgeted for 27 million. Then we have MEP and mechanical at 1.4 million, electrical being 8.5 million, plumbing 6.7 million, and we've allotted 7.9 million for our HVAC, foundation 4.5 million, and underground 6.4 million. So this is essentially discussed because this encompasses the entire or majority part of our budget for this project. Moving on to QC. For our QC, we have designated personnel. Mr. Boyer and his team are assigned to ensure that everything from mounting fixtures and wall types are as built to match what's listed on the specs. Our QC team performs weekly audits, such as walks to identify solutions to discrepancies as they arise. Some of these walks will include personnel from the design team, the owner team, or the state fire marshal, or any other authoritative entities. This is just one of the things that Tier 1 maintains the quality that we stand by. Aside from the quality audits, there are weekly QC reports that the team must go to ensure that everything has a paper trail. This is how we achieve our substantial completions before the projected completion dates as previously mentioned by Avilio. Now I'm going to be talking about our safety plan. So our top 5 hazards are crane and hoist mishaps, scaffold mishaps, electrical, fault, and struck by hazards. These are the most common occurring hazards based off of previous incidences. These hazards are also recognized by OSHA, which is the template that we based our safety analysis perspective on. So Tier 1 has utilized these reports as determining factors into future projects to help mitigate further occurrences. We also have an AHA. This identifies the activities, the hazards and risks involved, tools required, and environmental details when working on a specific job. These forms are then forwarded to other team members so that they can sign off to acknowledge the types of activities that are being performed at any given time. We also have EAP down at the bottom, which is the emergency action plan. These are guidelines designated to address special circumstances such as weather, flooding, or any type of out of standard condition that may interrupt operations. These are implemented to list evacuation plans, exit routes, and other types of responses when it comes to specialized scenarios. Over at Tier 1, we also have this award recognition system known as a Safety Awards Recognition System, which is an accumulated point system that rewards our employees who work on the project without any reported incidences. This system awards incentives such as gift cards, tools, electronics, and other various prizes for those who have injury-free work days. This is how we further promote our safe culture over here at Tier 1 and a safe working environment. So COVID-19, I know this has impacted our lives both professionally and personally, and Tier 1 sees this as not a challenge, but an opportunity to adapt. Face masks are now an addition to the current requirements for PPE when working at any of our job sites. Additionally, the company will distribute several sanitation stations throughout the site, as well as enforcing the 6-foot rule when working in smaller enclosed areas. This is just what goes to show our efforts to persevere at times, even when other companies have halted production. And so this concludes my presentation. Once again, I want to thank everybody for attending, and I'll leave the rest for questions.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for that. Great presentation. We will dive into, we've got quite a few questions here for you, so we'll dive into those. The first one we wanted to touch base on was kind of a general question. Your crane plan for the site, can you elaborate on how many cranes you plan to have on the site, and where you are thinking of setting them up and what type they are?
Yes, we had originally included a slide on our site logistics planning here, but we're running a little over time, so I didn't want to put it in there. But we are planning to having one large crane on site, and it will be located. So if we're talking about Commerce Street, right, and Rosa Parks, so it will be northeast of that corner. So northeast of the corner of Commerce and Rosa Parks, towards the center of the site, so that it can be mobilized based on our you know, the traffic routes that we had established for our site.
All right, thank you for that. Amanda, you and your team there in Nashville have any questions?
Yeah, quick question for you guys. Looking at your schedule, you have a very aggressive schedule. Earlier in the presentation, it looked like your superstructure and your foundations almost start around the same time frame. What cure time are you guys putting on the foundations before you start to erect steel?
You know, I don't have that information on the top of my head. That's something that, you know, there's so much stuff within the project that needs to be remembered and memorized. So I don't have that information on the top of my head. However, you know, if we get a request for further information, we can get that submitted to you and find the specific dates or cure times for you.
Okay, yeah,
So
that would be
for
great.
that, I can elaborate a little bit. For as far as cure times, they typically last about 2 days per pour. So we would allocate at least 2 days a week within that time frame.
Okay. Do you intend on putting any kind of admixture to kind of make that cure process go quick? And did you account for that in your estimate?
Again,
We did account for that, and it should be listed in the specs.
I think that's good. I guess with that being said too, with the aggressive schedule, your staff plan only shows one person as both QC and safety. With, again, how fast you guys are doing this, do you think that's enough?
Well, you know, as you know, recent events have caused changes in staffing in many companies. So we're currently adapting to that. Although that's the staffing we are showing, we're planning on bringing in some more staff as you know, as we speak. So we are conscious of that, and we are currently working on efforts to bring in more staff to be able to complete the dates just like we planned before COVID happened.
As Avila was saying, we do plan, as a project further progresses, we do plan on recruiting more people for the staff. Just like our previous projects, as a project progresses, we will also be increasing our staff. But this is, as it is, as the pre-con phase, this is how our staff will be looking.
I'm going to piggyback off Amanda's question. So I'm looking through your guys' full schedule here, and it says start precast erection. You guys have got a 25-day duration for placing, it looks like concrete, and then an 18-day duration for curing. Are you guys planning on casting precast panels on site? What's the plan there?
So for precast panels, we plan on mobilizing them as they are completed, and they will be erected using the crane for those days listed on the schedule. And we will probably be looking at about 3 or 4 loads a day.
All right, so not placing them on site, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then kind of continuing on that path, with this aggressive schedule you guys established, as the owner of this project, we have a third-party QA company. What's your plan to engage them and make sure that they have proper time to not only engage with your staff, but review the materials that you have installed and ensure they're in compliance with the contract documents?
So just to reiterate what I was stating before, as our weekly QC audits, occasionally they will be accompanied by this third-party quality assurance company, and they will be performing such walks to make sure that everyone is on the same page when it comes to discrepancies and any out of order or out of standard condition for the contract.
Also, just to add a little bit on what Kendrick is saying, you know, like we mentioned earlier, we understand this is an aggressive schedule. However, when you have clear communication from the beginning of the project to the end of the project, you can manage to get things done without necessarily taking that much of a time frame. So we plan on communicating earlier with that third-party quality control agency to make sure that we're all on the same page. That way we can move forward with the schedule, even though the schedule is a little bit aggressive.
Okay, great.
So it sounds like you guys have past history, not only working together, but on past courthouse projects. So what are the biggest lessons learned that you guys can bring forward from your previous experience to this project?
Me personally, I would have to say clear communication. I mean, I'm big on communicating, and on one of my first projects, we had a lot of problems with communication, and this is something that we adapted throughout the project, and eventually got better at it. But I understand that without clear communication, concise, clear communication from early stages to the end of the project, you can run into a lot of problems. So one thing I've learned is that communicating clearly with everyone, all the subcontractors, our own workers, third-party agencies, is key to succeeding in a project like this.
And to add to what Avili was saying, based off of our aggressive approach, this is the same experience we've used on our past projects. And the reason why we have this is because towards the completion, towards the end of the phasing, we have that little extra cushion in case if we have little incidences that arise. So that's the approach that we're taking for this project.
And then I have one follow-up question because you led right into it. So you guys are doing site improvements, self-perform. There's some good stuff in your proposal about I think there's a program that you guys use. I think it's landscape related. But you guys are going to be completing the site improvements through the rainiest time in Nashville. So do you guys have any backup plans, parameters, or anything like that in case the weather is what it has been the last couple of years?
Yes, that has been, we understand the weather in Nashville is kind of crazy, and we've looked at, past years and see what the weather is like. And I know it seems we're completing a lot of the work throughout rainy season. We have accounted for this, and we are ready to adapt in case, anything out of our plan happens. We have had these situations in the past, and we know how to deal with them appropriately. We'll adapt as that comes our way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I got just a couple quick questions, kind of geared towards the estimate. The first question is, you talked about a single crane on site. How long do you anticipate that crane to be on site?
So for the crane, we anticipate it to be on there so as long as up until the point where precast and glazing is completely finished.
And how long was that? The reason I'm asking you that question is it seems like through your schedule, the duration for a crane to be on site for crane activities exceeds the amount that you have within your estimate. You have 1 month in your estimate of a crane, and you do not have a crane operator, that's all. So how do you guys plan to cover the delta in time and cost for crane activities?
Well, yeah,
That will be, we would be submitting an RFI for that. We most likely will be adding a crane operator, and we will be adjusting accordingly as we further progress through the project.
Okay, and then my last kind of question really is more of a statement. Your fee on the job is 13% of the overall project, which I like, from your point of view. But what constitutes? How did you guys get to a fee of $15 million?
That was based off of our previous projects. We kind of allocated a specific percentage of what our previous contracts were. So this is the approach that we've used for this project, was analyzing and using that same percentage of the overall contract amount.
Okay. Would you guys be willing to negotiate that?
well, this is business, so like everything, we can account for a little bit of negotiation here and there, as long as you're willing to meet us halfway and you're not, just kind of forcing a price upon us. We will be willing to negotiate with you, but to a reasonable amount, yes.
Okay. Great.
Awesome job.
I'll jump in. I got one
Go
more
ahead, Daniel.
time, right, Tom? Anyway.
Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes.
Cool.
From time.
Going back to the crane and your site utilization, can you just walk me through what crane you selected to do this work and how it's accessing all areas that you need during construction?
Yes, when it comes to the specific crane, I don't have that information right on the top of my head. However, we plan on accessing the site. We plan on accessing the site on Rosa Parks northbound. We have one of our main site entrances right off of Rosa Parks, approximately about 1,000 feet from Rosa Parks and Commerce Street. And that's our main entrance. So it's wide enough for the crane to access through there. And then it kind of leaves, the way our site is set up is we will be entering there through Rosa Parks off of the northbound lane, and then entering the site, keeping right and going kind of around the perimeter. So that allows the crane to access through that way and move around as needed. And also that, when the crane is no longer needed, the plan is to exit over on Commerce Street, heading westbound on Commerce.
At this point of the project, we do not anticipate for the crane to actually reach certain points where it's over the load capacity. So we've kind of budgeted for that. But should we anticipate something to where we have to use a secondary crane, then we will issue a change order for that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Chris Woodling, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I had a question on the safety award recognition system. You talked about an incentive program of, I believe, gift cards and some other items. Can you tell me what has been your experience with the rewards of cash or gift cards? And as far as what is your policy of getting people not to hide accidents or anything?
Can you repeat that question?
Your safety award recognition system talked about gift cards out to craft. Is that correct?
This is for our own employees.
Correct. And I guess my question is, how do you combat against somebody reporting accidents or that in the hopes of getting gift cards? How do you incentivize them to be honest with the safety?
Well, our safety team is also much like the QC team, except they perform daily walks, and we are actually on site and right there when accidents such as that do happen. So it would be really hard for them to try to hide such big accidents such as that. We do also have the safe system where we would perform quality audits with our own employees aside from the safety team to help ensure that everyone follows a safe culture.
So are the awards for your staff or for the craft?
For our staff and the craft.
Okay.
And also, just to touch a little bit on that, we understand that this is not a perfect world and people will always maybe try to lie or hide things. But here at Tier 1 Construction, our culture is to, honesty. And we provide rewards for people that, that operate without mishaps. But we also don't necessarily punish those who accidentally had an accident. We try to address the problem from like a learning perspective. And, as things come our way, we try to learn from it. We don't necessarily punish our staff so that they are comfortable not lying and hiding things, because we want to make sure that we know about it so that we can, identify those problems, plan accordingly, and get better for the future.
Also, to add to that, we like to establish this foundation of the relationship. So we want to be open with our craft as well as our subs. And we do offer occasionally these safety programs and safety trainings coordinated by the safety team to help better educate those people who are not familiar with the areas in which they will be working in.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that brings us to our 30-minute time limit. So thank you very much, Kendrick and Emilio, for your time today, your efforts. You should be commended for it, for diving in as this process kind of drug out through the spring and then over the summer. So I'd like to, from all the judges, express our thanks to you guys for taking the time to participate, and let you know you've done a good job. We will look forward to seeing you tomorrow during the debrief session, where Amanda and her team will give the participants a little bit of a deep dive into their challenges in building the actual job. And that will also open up the floor then for you guys to give us some Q&A and ask us about how we attack the project. So thanks again for all your time today. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate your guys' time and effort into listening and hearing us out, and hopefully we sell the job.
Good job, guys.
Great job, guys.
Thanks.